Hello again and welcome to Spotlight, the interview show on RT. I'm Al Grunov and today we'll talk about Eurovision. This week Russia is hosting the annual Eurovision Song Contest, one of Europe's most watched annual shows with a TV audience of over 100 million people. My guest today is a man who knows everything there is to know about Eurovision, author of the Eurovision Official History book, John O'Connor.
John O'Connor is a Eurovision historian known as Mr. Eurovision for his in-depth knowledge of the song contest. His fascination with the competition began in 1971 when at the age of 6 he saw Clodagh Rogers represent Britain. Born into an Irish family in London during the Beatles times, it was the Eurovision Song Contest that broadened his musical interest and helped introduce him to other countries and cultures. A former record executive in the UK, John has lived in the US for more than 17 years. In 1999, he wrote his first book on the history of the Eurovision Song Contest, from its start in 1956 as a 7-nation competition in a small Swiss theater to today's elaborate 42-country contest with millions of fans around the world. John O'Connor joins us as a guest on Spotlight today to share his impressions of the Eurovision Song Contest in Moscow.
Hello, John. Welcome to the show. Thank you very much for being with us. Well, first of all, let's talk about what's being said and written about Eurovision. Every year, the same thing happens, as far as I remember watching this contest and reading about it. The media in the West usually snubs Eurovision as bad taste, rubbish, kid show. The Eastern Bloc countries, the Eastern Europe, they take it more seriously. They think that it's a real song contest and something, a must to win at least once in a lifetime. Which point of view do you share as a historian?
Well, I think it's a mix of the two. Certainly, I think in earlier years the West took it much more seriously. But as time has gone on and the entries have become more kitsch and it's become less important to the culture of those particular countries, particularly the television culture, they've stopped taking it quite so seriously. Whereas the Eastern Bloc countries who've only come new to the contest and really have only come new to the international scene want to make their mark and they want to make their impact and show the rest of the world.
What you just said is that this song contest isn't about culture, isn't about songs. It's about winning.
It is about winning.
It's just a show.
It is, but a wonderful show, a spectacle. I think in the early days it was very much a serious song contest, and it not only launched many international stars, it re-established the careers of existing stars. But now, yes, I think it's a spectacle, it's an entertainment, it's not necessarily a serious song contest, but it's something that's to be enjoyed, and is enjoyed on so many levels.
Well, what would you say about the British attitude? You live in the United States, so you may have a point of view of which will explain the British attitude. Is it all about like sour grapes because the Brits haven't been doing very well at the Eurovision?
Well, that's really the only way that I can interpret it, I have to be honest. They don't take it seriously and they really don't care until they lose. And then it's astonishing, the questions that I get from the media and then the bad losers, etc. Particularly last year, I thought it was really quite noticeable. So this year, the British are taking it particularly seriously. They've got
Sir Lloyd Webber writing the song?
Lord Lloyd Webber has written the UK entry. Diane Warren, who's an American songwriter, has written the lyric. They brought in one of Britain's top choreographers to make sure the staging is all right, and they had a very big televised talent competition to choose the singer. So they've really come here meaning business, and they don't want to have the drubbing that they've had the last few years.
And as far as I know, President Putin said that he will vote.
He did. He met with
for the British.
He met with Lord Webber, I think in December, and he promised the Russian 12 points to the UK.
He promised the Russian 12 points.
Yes, the Russian 12 points he said are going to the UK this year.
Do you think he will keep his promise?
Well, who knows? I guess it's up to the voters of Russia really to see.
Well, you're a historian, you know everything about the show. Is it possible to keep such a kind of promise for a president of a country?
I would say not, and I think after 54 years it would have been exposed by now if there was any kind of
So it's not all that manipulated?
I don't see how it could be. I mean, it used to be just juries made up of the members of the public, and now, of course, it's just televoting with viewers who are sitting at home watching. There was an accusation that the 1969 contest, sorry, 1968 was rigged by the Spanish, and that General Franco was determined to win, so he paid off all the juries to make sure the Spanish song won. But again, it's just a story. I can't see how it's possible. But these political arguments have raged in Eurovision forever. But no, I wouldn't have thought Mr. Putin could guarantee the 12 points, but who knows?
Okay, the reason that that Great Britain has brought in Sir Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber and one of the top performers and all that, is it because England has started to take it more seriously, I mean, the contest, or once again because they're bad losers and they want to become good winners?
I think they want to become good winners again. I don't think they're necessarily taking it more seriously. Certainly the British public will not be, but the BBC are taking it more seriously. I mean, it's a matter of pride to them and the fact that they've been doing so badly. You have to remember, until about a decade ago, the UK finished in the top 4 virtually every single year. There's very few occasions when they didn't. And now they haven't been in the top 10 for the last decade.
Does it matter? Is there such a thing as second place, third place? I
think there used to be.
My opinion is that this is the kind of a competition, unlike the Olympics, where only the winner takes it all.
I very much agree with you. I think you either win or you lose. It's as simple as that. And wasn't always the case. I think if you came second, you still had a very good chance of being recognised. But now, yes, I think you either win or you lose. But I suppose, in terms of feelings and deciding, or hurt feelings, it's better to come second than it is to come last. I'm not sure it really means anything ultimately.
Well, throughout its 50-year history, the Eurovision Song Contest has seen its share of scandals, from political, posturing and controversial contestants to allegations of cheating. Spotlight's Elena Demidova has more.
Despite claims that the contest is purely for entertainment, political controversies have been popping up around Eurovision for years. In 1969, Austria refused to send its singer to a contest in Madrid, a move perceived as a boycott of General Franco's dictatorship. In the 70s, Turkey caved to pressure from its Arab neighbors and wouldn't participate in a contest hosted by Jerusalem. And the European Broadcasting Union has had its hands full with Eurovision song lyrics to make sure they do not carry politically controversial messages. Politics aside, vote-telling has been another source of Eurovision scandals. Western European fans have criticized their Eastern neighbors for voting for each other in what they call a bloc, and not for the best songs. Eurovision has also seen 4 plagiarism scandals, though none of the cases has been proven. Some of the contestants themselves have been the cause of controversy. When Israel chose Dana International, a transsexual, as its representative, many Orthodox Jews were enraged. Nevertheless, Dana was sent to the contest in 1998 and won. Known as the Finnish Monsters, Lordi were called nothing short of satanic by some of the religious leaders in their home country. Some Finns protested against the group's inclusion in Eurovision. In 2006, however, Lordi went on to give Finland its first ever victory in the contest.
We just talked about the new system of voting. You mentioned it. Like, there used to be a jury, then for the last decades it was only televoting. People just voted from households, and that was it. This year it's a mixture.
It's a mixture of the two, half and half.
Half the votes come from the juries from each country, and half the votes come from the people of each country.
That's correct. And in fact, the jury is a professional jury, which they've never had before. Professionals were not allowed to be on the jury before, so it could have a very big impact.
Do you support it, this new system?
Yes, I do, because I think the diaspora voting and what people call the political voting, but which I don't call it that, has been having a very negative impact on the contest in terms of how the viewers perceive it. They perceive it as political, they perceive it as unfair, and therefore it's right that it's corrected. Otherwise that perception will just continue and the contest will disappear.
What will keep the judges unbiased? I mean, the professional judges.
Well, there's nothing to say that they will either. I mean, this is the controversy with the juries when they existed in the first place, that they often made bad decisions and they often made neighbourly decisions, so there's nothing to say they won't. The difference is, of course, they have to hear the songs a few times, and they watch a few of the rehearsals, and they then have to mark each song in comparison to each other, and that makes a big difference in how the result comes out, whereas the viewers just pick up the phone and they vote for one song.
Yeah, but this is a different thing. I mean, one of the catches of this show was that you see the song and you vote.
Yes.
You vote for the first impression you get. And now, if you say that the judges, the people on the juries, they will be watching the song a couple of times during rehearsals and time after time watching videos, that means they will not be voting for the actual performance,
no,
but for the effort that they saw behind the song.
Yes, but also how they appreciate the song. And sometimes songs take a few listenings before you actually get it, and you think, oh, yes, actually, I didn't like that at first, but actually, I do like that now. And that's how it was always done in Eurovision, the juries, and that's why often the jury's decisions and winners came forward the public didn't like.
What I mean is, for example, if they know it's a great song, they love it, they want to give it a 12, and suddenly during the performance, the performer, the singer, well, he catches a cold and he can't sing, they still give him a 12 because they know it's a great song?
I couldn't answer that. You'll have to ask somebody who's on the jury. They may, I suppose. Yes, that could happen. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that happened last night, actually, in the first semi-final with Belgium, which was a very highly rated song, but the performer was awful. His throat had gone, he couldn't sing, and he didn't qualify. Whereas perhaps if he performed better, he would have done. So who can say?
But on the other hand, the two ladies from Israel, whose performance, me personally, I thought they would be 100% the ones who will fall out, and they did qualify.
They did qualify, and a lot of people rate that song very highly. And of course, there's a very big backstory to that, because it's the first time an Israeli Jew and an Israeli Arab have performed together. And so maybe that's what appealed to some people.
Eurovision is all about politics. We're going to talk about it in a minute. We're talking to John O'Connor, a Eurovision historian. Spotlight will be back shortly, right after a break. So stay with us. There we go.
Time, this country was out of the information flow. But everything has changed in one day. Moldova, one day in April on RT. Did you know that RT's cars are also time machines? James Brown delves into the past and discovers the history of the Russian Golden Ring. But will he get back?
I have my date.
Back to the future. Find out on RT.
Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm Al Gurnov, and just a reminder that our guest today in the studio is John O'Connor, a man who knows everything there is to know about Eurovision Song Contest, the historian, the man who wrote the Eurovision Song Contest official history book. John, we started, before the break, talking about the political aspect of Eurovision. People have been talking about this political aspect for years and decades. Well, one small example. Here in front of me, I had the Dima Bilan, who won the Eurovision Song Contest last year. And I asked him, is it political? He said, yeah, sure. It's all about politics. Now, when I talked to Anastasia Prihodska, this year's performance, she said, no, I don't know anything about politics. I'm just performing a song. I said, okay, listen, you're performing the song. You are a Ukrainian national. Your producer is Georgian. The author of the lyrics is Latvian, and you're performing under the Russian flag. You want to tell me this is not political?
Well, is politics the right word to describe that? I don't know. I mean, to me, that would just be smart in appealing to covering all of your bases and making sure that you can get the support across Europe that you need. I'm not sure if politics plays any part in that. Countries want to win. And if they want to win, they know what they have to do to win. They have to appeal across Europe to some very, very diverse cultures and some very, very diverse populace, and they want to get the votes from those people, and that's how to do it. Norway this year, their singer is Belarusian. I believe the writers are of either Russian or Georgian ancestry. They're singing for Norway. They're singing in English. But I don't think that's political. They're just hedging all their bets and covering all their bases.
What about Georgia? Georgia has been the biggest scandal. Every Eurovision contest every year has a scandal. This year it was Georgia who wrote a song that sounded like "We don't want no more Putin." As far as I know, the official Russia complained, and the official commission is something in Brussels or wherever. They said that we don't allow this act to go. And
that's correct. And they actually asked to change the lyrics, and they refused. And once they refused, they were dismissed. But you're right, it sounded like "put in." I mean, it was "put in" was what they were singing.
But it didn't make no sense.
It didn't. It made no sense at all. But 2 years ago, the Ukrainian song was called "Lasha Tumbai," and when they sang it, what they were singing was "Russia Goodbye." They were allowed to do that. I think the reason the Georgians weren't allowed to do it was because it's held in Russia, and the Russians don't want to be insulted. And I totally understand that. I mean, I think that was a perfectly reasonable decision. But the Israelis sang a song about George Bush a couple of years ago. It was called "Bush the Button," and they got away with it because it only sounded like Bush. And this only sounded like Putin. Now, if the Georgians had been sensible, they'd have changed it to something like Rasputin. They could have still got the joke in, but they didn't want to do it. They took it on principle. But I agree, the decision was right. They shouldn't have been allowed to do it.
So, but what you say, you agree that the decision was right, but on the other hand, you admit that politics are always there. You just told me before the break about those two girls from Israel, that one of them is of Arab origin, the other one of Jewish origin. They're singing together. It's like a big political thing going on there, instead of just being a song contest.
Yes, but again, I just wonder if politics is the right word. Again, they're trying to appeal to several audiences. Now, the Israeli, I must admit, is probably more blatantly political than some others. But if it works and they get the votes and they win, then surely that's their agenda, and that's what they're trying to do.
What's more important in this context, the song or the gimmick?
Recently, I'm afraid, it's almost become their equal. It should just be about the song, but the gimmicks have become just more and more outrageous.
Who started? The Finns with the Lordi?
No, it was going a long time before Finland. I mean, if you think back to years and years ago when ABBA won the contest, they revolutionised it because of their costumes. Before then, everyone wore very formal dress. They wore suits or dinner jackets and long gown. They came on stage with this gimmick of just dressing like they were straight out of, the pop charts. Then Brotherhood of Man changed it because they introduced choreography. Somebody is always pushing the limit, but every so often there's a backlash. And this is why one of the reasons I think France and the UK are so highly rated this year, because they've gone in the opposite direction and they've just gone for simple, straightforward, no gimmicks, unless you count Lord Rolberber on the piano being a gimmick.
Okay, well, I have a quote for you. Barry Vinegar, who runs the Eurovision fan website, said Moscow has dramatically improved the quality of the event, and he said, okay, I quote, "Moscow is simply putting on the best Eurovision show ever." Would you agree with that?
I would. From what I saw yesterday, I thought the production of the first semi-final was stunning. I think this is the best set I've ever seen. It's the best design. Everything about the production is really incredible. What has let down the production was the presenters, who I thought were absolutely dreadful. And I hope they can improve that before Saturday. But otherwise, I think what Russia has done here has been remarkable.
It will never pay back.
No, I can't see how it can. And the rumours are that...
I talked to people...
38 million euros.
Yeah, around 40 million.
Yeah, it's an incredible number.
And the amount of money coming back is about 12 or something like that. Yeah?
I believe that's right. But then do you count
Why are they doing that?
I think because, again, like the Olympics, everybody wants to show their best. Everybody wants to show that they can spend this money. Everybody wants to show they have the resources, they have the talent, they have the technology. It's got to stop at some point. I can't see countries going on and spending more and more than 40 million euros every year. It's astonishing. It's almost an obscene amount of money. So it will stop at one point. Almost like it stopped in Beijing. London cannot possibly do that with their Olympics. So maybe whoever wins this year will not be able to do this.
You know what
the
president of Channel 1, who's staging the show, said that if somebody in Europe, anywhere in Europe, would like to put on a major show these days, I mean stage show, it'll be impossible. Because everything is in Moscow. All the laser screens and lights and sound, everything, all the specialists and all the equipment is here.
It's probably true, yeah, I think that's very true. I mean, they really have done an incredible job and they've left nothing to chance, and I've been very impressed by what the Russians
Who's your your personal favourite this year in Eurovision? Patricia Kaas?
I love the Patricia Kaas song, I must admit. It's so simple, and that's a quality performer who doesn't need any gimmicks, and I think that's her message. I don't think she's going to do well, who knows. I very much like the Azerbaijani song because it's fun and it's got a great beat, etc. My personal favourite, Switzerland, were knocked out in the first semi-final, so that shows how little I know.
Do you like this Russian, the Ukrainian girl singing for Russia?
She doesn't have a voice that is to my personal taste. I think she's a little bit screechy, is the way she sounds, and it's a very sort of traditional Eurovision song. It's not particularly modern, but we'll see. I'm sure Russia will do well in the contest.
Well, getting back to scandals, if Eurovision is becoming to a large extent a gimmick show, like just a television product and not really a serious musical contest, do you think that the scandals are part of this show?
They always have been.
Survive?
They always have been. The scandals have been there right from the beginning, and I don't think they'll ever go away. And it is part and parcel of it. That's what people look forward to in a way. You know, it's Eurovision time, and it's about the political voting, if they call it that. It's about the scandals, it's about the costumes, it's about the outrageous choreography. All of that is what makes up the Eurovision brand, if you like. It's all part and parcel of it, and it will never go away. Someone will always be fed up with the
scandals are put into the script from the very beginning?
I don't think that's true, but I think some countries, I think, do go out of their way to do things to attract attention. I think that's what the Georgian song was all about this year. I think the Russians picking a Ukrainian was rather cynical, and I think, you know, the Israeli entry is another example of that. And people are, yes, I think they go out of their way to create some problems.
What was the most notorious scandal in the history of Eurovision?
Well, actually, this year the Georgian song is the first time any song has ever been thrown out for politics. But there's, you know, different scandals, you know. It depends whether you call it a scandal. I mean, they mentioned earlier in the film, I mean, Austria refusing to go to Madrid in 1969. That was very big news at the time. But of course, it was the Austrian votes that helped Spain win in 1968. So the whole thing was really ironic. You help Spain win and then you don't want to go. I mean, it's really very strange.
And what about that scandal? You remember that Israeli girl, Dana International, happened to be a man afterwards?
But is that a scandal? I don't know. I mean, but it was. Yes, I mean, well, it wasn't afterwards. It was very well known she was a transsexual. She'd been trying to represent Israel for several years before she finally got through to the final. But yes, it caused a huge scandal, and I think it helped her win because she was in the public's mind. They all recognised her, they knew all about her.
What was your favourite Eurovision entry in the history of Eurovision? Waterloo?
No, it wouldn't be Waterloo, although I do love Waterloo because I'm a big ABBA fan. But no, actually my favourite is the 1969 French winner, Un jour un enfant, which was sung by Frida Baccara, which is a beautiful song. And I like it because it's actually very similar to Patricia Kaas's song. It's very non-Eurovision, it's very simple, it's very elegant, it's just played with guitar, piano and cello. There's no other orchestra, and it's a very nice song. But it's a bit embarrassing that in 40 years I haven't found one I like more, but that's still my favourite.
Well, you live in the United States, and I know you did some reporting on you wrote on Eurovision to some Australian media.
I do quite a lot for Australian media, absolutely.
And this year Eurovision is actually broadcast in Australia.
Well, it has been since 1983. They've been carrying it for a long time.
Why?
I think
are they interested in what's going on?
They love it. It's a huge ratings hit in Australia. Yes, it's one of the biggest hits that SBS, who transmit it, will have this year. I think it's because of the ethnic diversity of Australia. You have so many different cultures there. You have Greeks, you have Russians, you have British, you have Irish, and I think it's their only chance really to sort of share in something with the rest of the world that is, you know, celebrating their motherlands, if you like. But it's a huge success there. And yes, I do a lot of reporting for them.
Is there a chance that any country outside Europe will take part in
Well,
Eurovision?
Israel, of course, have been in since...
Well, Israel has been playing football in
Right, but Morocco took part in 1980, but only once. Because of Israel, none of the other countries that are eligible will come in. Lebanon entered in 2004, I think it was, but then were forced to withdraw because they refused to broadcast the Israeli entry. And as long as that exists, they won't be able to take part. But Egypt, Tunisia, Jordan, all these countries are eligible to take part if they choose.
America, Australia, no?
No, I don't think so.
They're not Eurovision.
They're not Eurovision, and you have to be able to show it live and do the voting live. And of course, Australia can't. They tape it and they show it the following night. But if they wanted to do it live and have the televoting, then I suppose there'd be nothing to stop them. There is talk of a world vision, of expanding it. There's going to be an Asia Vision this year, and then have all the winners of each one. I think they're also having the Song of Africa contest. And America has bought the rights to Eurovision.
Yeah, well, so it's developing. It will keep you busy, as you
I hope so.
so keep writing a new chapter every year.
pension.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for being with us. And just a reminder that my guest in the studio today was John O'Connor, a Eurovision historian. That's it for now from all of us here. If you want to have your Stone Spotlight, just drop me a line. We'll be back tomorrow with more first-hand comments on what's going on in and outside Russia. Until then, stay on RT and take care. Thank you.